Mr. Ingram.
Thank you, Chair Buckley. My name is Antonio Ingram. I serve as a senior counsel at the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. I'm here to oppose Senate Bill 12, and in particular, its prohibition on diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. Senate Bill 12 prohibits the promotion of differential treatment or providing special benefits to individuals based on race. This language reminds me of a U.S. Supreme Court case from 1883, striking down the Civil Rights Act of 1875, a Reconstruction-era law designed to remedy discrimination for newly emancipated Black Americans. And yet, a mere 18 years after the abolition of slavery, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down the Civil Rights Act of 1875 and said that Black people must, and I quote, cease to be the special favorite of the laws. The reasoning of the majority opinion relied on a willful amnesia as to why the Civil Rights Act of 1875 existed. Today, we see history repeating itself as these tropes of favoritism live on in Senate Bill 12. Diversity, equity, and inclusion policies are not about favoritism. These policies are about remediation and mitigation of legacies of racial bias and discrimination which still persist in Texas schools today. The decision to strike down the Civil Rights Act of 1875 has gone down in history as a regretful mistake, and that opinion was not overturned until 1968. And if Senate Bill 12 becomes law, I know we'll have a similar legacy. Please vote no on Senate Bill 12.
All right, thank you very much for your testimony. Members, any questions for this panel? All right, thank you all very much. I'm sorry, Representative Bryant.
Mr. Ingram, you may have heard my initial dialogue with Chairman Leach about what would seem to me to be the common sense notion that I think has some backing in science, social science, that people who are Black or brown or white need to see people that look like them, at least some people that look like them in the school or in the classroom in positions of authority. Would you comment on that?
Yes. So there's a lot of evidence regarding cultural competency. When you have Black students and students of color who have teachers who look like them, there are better educational outcomes in classrooms. And this is not conjecture, this is data-based, empirical-based evidence. And it leads to better social outcomes for especially students who are underserved. And so the notion of colorblindness in the classroom is belied by the data. And I think it's really important that school districts have the ability to cultivate classrooms where students have reflections of themselves. You know, when you're a Black student in a school and you're the only person who looks like you and you have teachers who may not understand your experience, and our country is not at this point a place where we all have equal experiences. As a Black American, you have different experiences as a white American, and you bring that into classrooms. And this is really important. I think about discipline rates in K through 12. Black students who are men get disciplined at higher rates for the same conduct as white male students, and that's because there's implicit bias that makes Black male students get perceived by white teachers, sometimes even teachers of color who are not African American, to be more troublesome or to have more violent tendencies. And so this leads to pipeline issues and explosions, which then lead to, college outcomes that are different. And so having a person who looks like you in the classroom is not just a preference, it's not just an opinion. It leads to outcomes that are better for all students.
Now, do you read the bill as prohibiting taking that into consideration?
I do, and I think it's quite vague. And I will say we have evidence from Senate Bill 17. When there are anti-diversity, equity, inclusion laws in the state of Texas, they get construed in a way that is very conservative by general counsels and school districts, and it's going to lead to sort of even ambiguous interpretations that are being construed against students of color, and particularly Black students.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, members. Any more questions? All right. Thank you all very much for being here.